Shalom Aleichem. This is the week of Ki Tetzei la milchama al oyevecha, when you go to war against your enemies. Now, that is a very interesting metaphor. It definitely means go to war against your enemies, and you see in the enemy a beautiful woman, and you can't control yourself. You have relations with her once, but you cannot touch her again until you bring her home and let her sit in your house for 30 days. Cut off all her hair, make her bald, and then let her fingernails grow long or short. Cut them very short, depends what makes her more ugly. If you still love her after 30 days, then there's more than a physical infatuation. It is maybe a neshama attraction. Because we know, as the Mayan explained, we're going to learn the Mayan today, that many great tzaddikim came from neshamas of wicked Rishayim that had in them some bound up nitzutz, the spark of a tzaddik that some way had to be released. Sancheiriv, his grandchildren were of Shmai Naftalion. B'nei Bonav Shel Haman, Limdu Torah B'Yushalayim. Niron Kesar, his great-grandson was of Meir, Meir, light. Shechem, who was the Ma'anes Dina, from that offspring came Hananya ben Teradion. It's a very big, deep subject. So you go out to war and you meet this beautiful woman, you can't control yourself, the Torah permits it one time. But if you really want to marry her, not just use her, you have to wait a month. The mashal is, in life we go out to war every day, and we meet that beautiful woman. It's called the Yetzer Hara. Can you defeat him? Can you control him, or do you give in to him? So, Lo Dibra Torah Ela Keneged Yetzer Hara. This, what the Torah says about Ki Tetzei, that is permissible the first time in the battlefield. That's only Keneged Yetzer Hara. Lo Dibra Torah Ela Keneged Yetzer Hara. To permit it. Automatically, once it's permitted, it's not so attractive anymore. Forbidden fruits are very attractive. Once it's permissible, it's not so attractive. Lo dibra Torah el keneged Yetzer Hara, to weaken the Yetzer Hara. That's why the Torah permitted it. The Ramban says, if you do it, you are a novel b'shus haTorah. You're 100% legal, but you're a novel. You're a pervert. Novel means withered. You are the letter of the law you kept, but you didn't keep the spirit of the law. You're a novel, low life, inside halacha. You're a low class person. So the Mayan Beis HaSheva says it never ever happened in history of Jewish history. When there was a tzaddik, a king, not talking about a Rishoyim king, when there was a tzaddik, a king, never ever did this ever happen, this thing of Yifas Toar, the beautiful woman. Because in the Jewish army, everyone is a tzaddik. You take the biggest tzaddikim. Big tzaddikim know how to fight. Hashem ish milchama. God is a man of war. You go through the motions, I'll take care of it. The Jews came out of Egypt. They defeated the Egyptian army. 7 days after they left, the Yam Suf split, and we walked through on dry land, and they followed us, and they drowned all of them, even the king. Everyone. Not even one was left. And every Jew walked out like that. So you defeated the Egyptian army. Did you have an army? Hashem ish milchama. Hashem is, like it says in the Shira, Hashem is the man of war. You go through the motions, I'll take care of the rest. You do what you can do, what you have to do. I'll do what I have to do. Let's look at the Mayan Beis HaSheva on Ki Tetzei, some of the deep thoughts that the Mayan Zatzal says. Ki Tetzei la milchama al oyevecha. That's not the first part. He just says in another part, it never happened in Jewish history. When the leader was a tzaddik, that it never happened. So why do you learn it? Because it could happen. It's possible. If you give in to your Yetzer Hara, you're a novel b'shus haTorah. You're within the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law, says the Ramban. Let's see what the first piece that the Mayan says on this week's Parsha. If you have a son, who's a sorer, a strayer, he doesn't keep the Torah. Umore, he teaches himself another religion. Not that he abandoned Judaism, he taught himself another religion. He took on another religion by abandoning this one. If he would abandon this and have no religion, that's half as bad. But sorer, a strayer, umore, he teaches himself a new religion. Then it says in the pasuk a little further, Zolel v'sov, a glutton and a drunk. You can only be a ben sorer or morer for 90 days of your lifetime, from 13 until 3 months after 13 years of age. You have to steal from your father, buy cheap meat and cheap wine. You're addicted to wine and meat at 13. Usually a 13-year-old boy is addicted to other things, sports and other things, not eating and drinking. If you have an addiction that controls you, you can't help it. First they give him malchus, and then eventually they stone him to death. Because it says in the Gemara, we stone him innocent. We don't want to kill him guilty. Which means if he eventually, after he bankrupted his parents, took all their money, then he'll go out on the road and rob people. If they resist, he'll be a killer. He'll kill them. So rather kill him now without being a killer. Kill him now, or he's going to do in the future. But you always judge a person what he did in the past. This is the exception, what he's going to do in the future. Because Ruach HaKodesh, they know he's going to be a killer. So let him die innocent, not go to Gehenna as a killer. Let him die as an innocent person. He's a rebel, but he's not a killer yet. Danan al ha'osid, you judge him on the future. Let's see what the mind base of Sheva has to say about this. Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph. A ben Sora Mora, lo, never was and never could be. Because his mother, one of the 15 things is what his mother and father have to have the same voice. It's not possible. And he has to, all these conditions. And their parents have to be perfect physical specimens. They have to be able to see perfect, hear perfect, speak perfect, walk perfect, and every limb of their body perfect. It can't happen. It's there's 3 things in the Torah that never could happen, never will happen. Why do you learn it? Drush v'kabel schar. Learn about education of children and get reward for learning Torah. Ben Sorah never could or ever did or could happen. And Ir Hanidachas, a city that becomes a Jewish city that is under the influence of a missionary, the whole city goes away from Torah and Hashem and worships idols. Not that they don't have any religion, they worship idols. So it's not possible, because if they find in that city one house with one mezuzah, save the whole city. But the din is in the Torah that you burn down the whole city, never can build it up again. It's called Ir Hanidachas. And then the third thing that can never happen, a Beis HaMenuga, a house that gets tsuras. The Torah has a whole parsha on tsuras. That's the third step. Before you get it on your body, your clothes have to get it. Before the clothes get it, the house has to get it. The house can only be in Eretz Yisrael. The house can only be square. The house can only be made out of stone and wood. It's not possible. Never happened. And the cement that holds the bricks, the cement this way has to be red, and this vertical has to be green. And then if you don't do tshuva for Lashon Hara, it comes on your clothes, the whoop and the width, when you weave it, has to be also red and green, the lines red and green. And then you get it on your body. No one ever got saras. Never happened, never happened. It never could happen. Moshe got it. No, that's not the saras we're talking about. He put his hand in here, took it out. Just Hashem wanted to show him that I control the human body. You spoke Lashon Hara, Moshe, you spoke Lashon Hara about the Bnei Yisrael. Didn't you just tell me a minute ago, they won't trust, they won't believe in me? Well, a year later, millions of them stood at this spot here where the sneh was. That's why it's called sneh. Because Sinai, the mountain with the thorn bush. So you spoke Lashon Hara. You don't know the Jewish people, I do know them. Therefore, put your hand in there, take it out. That was 1 minute of Tzarath. Aaron and Miriam, they spoke Lashon Hara against Moshe. Yeah, so Moshe prayed for them, it was gone. Those 3 people. Uziyahu HaMelech had it on his forehead. Okay, lasted 26 years. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, and Uziyahu, 4 people. Who else? Then there were some people who had what you call leprosy. It looked like tzras, but tzras is curable. If you come because of lashon hara and you go through a mikveh and you wait 7 days or another 7 days or 21 days, eventually you're cured or you die, and the skin turns white. Leprosy, you're not cured ever, and you don't go to a kohen. It has nothing to do with the mikveh, and you only get it. Leprosy you don't get because of lashon hara. So Gehazi, Elisha's Talmud, and his 3 sons had it. Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, and his 3 sons had leprosy. They died from it because he spoke lashon hara. He died from it. He got it was not tzuras. It was he died from it. It was called leprosy. Only tzaddikim get it. Only, never goyim, ever. Only it's a nega, it's a touch from heaven. Only if you're a tzaddik like Moshe, Aaron, Miriam, Uziel HaMelech. And Gehazi, okay, he was the only Jews get it. But he died from it. Then there was a couple goyim, Avimelech and Naaman, the general. They had leprosy, they died from it. It wasn't because of lashon hara, because God just wanted to punish them. He took sorrow, so he got the leprosy, and if Abraham wouldn't have prayed for him, he would have died. It's not tzuras. God doesn't come with lashon hara. Lashon hara is only on Yisrael. So Gehazi, Pharaoh had it on his body, and because Hashem wanted to punish him, he said the tzaddik will pray for you, and it'll go away. Otherwise, you'll die from it. So only is Yisrael. No one ever had it besides Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam for 1 minute. The Melech Yisrael had it for 26 years. It was Yohu. David HaMelech had it for 6 months. That's called tzuras. No average person ever had it. Only tzaddikim. It's a nega. It's a touch from heaven. So that's the 5 Eden, the 5 Jews. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, David, and Uziyahu, and 5 Rishoyim. Well, they lived like Rishoyim here. Gehazi and his 3 sons, 4, because he told Naaman that my boss really wants the silver, the gold, the silk garments, and then Elisha said, why'd you say that? It's a lie. So he got the tzuras of Naaman. The Naaman's tzuras went on him, which really means he got the guy's tzuras. So there's 10 people, 5 were Eden, and 5 Pharaoh, and Naaman, and Gehazi and his 3 sons. They got the guy's tzuras. They called leprosy. They died from it, but Moshe and Aaron and Miriam didn't die from it, and David didn't die from it, Uziel didn't die from it. Anyhow, so these things, and tzuras never happened to any normal person. Yohani Dachas never happened, and Ben Sora Murder never happened. Let's see what the mind has to say about it. He says Ben Sora Murder never happened, never will happen. Because the father and mother have to be perfect physical samples, and they have to speak the same voice, which is impossible, the same height. So Rabbi Yonason says, I saw a cave of a Ben Sora Murder, and I actually sat on it. I saw it. What do you mean it didn't happen? Ra'isi v'yishavti al kivro. And then it says, Hanidachas never happened. He says, well, I saw the town, and they burnt it down. I sat on the ashes. Rabbi Yonason, the same person. Ani ra'isi ho, I saw it, Hanidachas. V'yishavti al tila, I sat on the pile of ashes. So my father asked the question, how come he's the only one that shot the same man to see both things? That never happened. How come he's such a zocher to sit in a place of 2 things that never happened? He said, yeah, well, I did. I sat on the caver of a Ben Sora Morim, and I sat on the tilo, the pile of ashes of a city that was burned down. So, he says, it says in Chazal, where is that Chazal? Where's that Chazal? Sanhedrin Ayin Aleph. He said, the Yom Shechor Beis HaMikdash, and the time the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Abal Pi Shabbat Sanhedrin, even though Sanhedrin has no more power, the Arba Misas Bezdin still do have power. People die of skila, not through Bezdin. They fall off a building. They go in a plane crash. Skila. They fall off things. That's skila. Sreifa, they get burned in fire. Hereg, they get their head cut off and stabbed and decapitated. Chenek, they get choked. Sanhedrin doesn't do it, but Hashem does it. Therefore, this young boy that Rabbi Nosson sat on his caver, there was no Sanhedrin around to paskin. Technical reasons he couldn't get paskin, but he died at the age of 13 and 13 and 3 months because he was did all these things that the Torah said, but there's no Sanhedrin that paskin. But Min Hashemayim, he had that type of death. So you see, with the bed, the Sanhedrin is bottled. The Abba Misa's bed is not bottled. There was no Sanhedrin around when this happened, but a certain city burned down because when the majority of the city went against Hashem, they became traitors to the God and His Torah, Jewish people. They burned down. So even though the bed Sanhedrin is bottled, the Abba Misa's bed is not bottled. It happens today. Some people get all 4 misos. That's to show in the plane crash. You get burned sometimes before you hit the ground. You get decapitated. You get skila, hit the ground, and you're choked to death in the heat, the smoke. You could have 4 misos at one time. That's one bar. Let's talk about the next thing. When you see a person's animal, donkey, cow, bull, sheep, goat, you know it ran away from your neighbor, you have to return it. You're not allowed to make believe you don't see it. Same thing due to his chamor. There's symbolism for his garment, his shirt, his jacket, whatever you find from him, anything, his camera, anything. Anything of he owns, don't make believe you don't see it. Don't make yourself as if you don't know. You're not allowed to do that. But there's a halacha, if you see the animal has ran away from the master, loaded with goods, or it's all by itself, and it's in a base hakvaros in a cemetery, you can't go in if you're a Kohen. Therefore, sometimes you have to say, I can't go in. I'm not going to bring it back. The mitzvah of staying out of a cemetery for a Kohen is bigger than the mitzvah of returning the lost object of Hashavas Aveda. So sometimes you're a Kohen, you're a Pater. Sometimes you're a Talmid Chacham, an old sage. You can't hold on to somebody's car or a wagon or a horse or in the middle of the street. It's ain't if he kvod, it doesn't pass your covered or your Pater. Shem said, so he says like this. Why is it you pray to God? Don't hide your eyes from our tefillah, which means sometimes God hides his eyes. Means sometimes he does. Chusano, please have mercy. Don't hide your look at us. Ooh, you mean we're given a mitzvah? We cannot look away, but God can. Answer. Sometimes it's not fit for Hashem to help us. If he's like a scholar, it doesn't fit him. Or he doesn't want to go into Mokum Tumah to save us. If we get involved in Averis of Tumah and Arayas and immorality, yes, you have a right. A Kohen has a right to look away. He has a right to, as a din of a Kohen. He has a right to ignore you if you do things of Arayas. You're on your own, boys. Or if you do things, gezel, stealing, cheating, Hashem, and Chacham has a right to not to hold on to a heavy package of somebody, or stand by a guy's truck, or his lost cow or sheep. That doesn't have ain't no fit kavod. If you do things in gezel, he abandons you. If you do things in Arayas, he abandons you. Sometimes you have a right. Hashem has a right, just like a chacham ain't no fit kavod, and a kohen is not allowed to be kohen. So if you do things that cause God to go away from you, it's your fault. Now we get to the third piece. If you're going along the way, and you see a kosher bird on the ground or in a tree, and you want the chicks or the eggs before they become chicks, you send away the mother bird, give it a shoeleg, then you take it. Shalach the shalech zayin. It's called shluach hakan, sending away the mother from the kan, from the nest. You're right to send the mother away, then you can take it. It says here, Omrab Tanchumo. If you keep this mitzvah of shluch hakan, you're going to bring Eliyahu Hanavi. Shiyovo, that he should come. Shikosobo, she luach. It says here by the bird, shalech, the shalech, send him away. And it says, by Eliyahu Novi, Hine Anochi Sholeach Lochem. It's Eliyahu Novi before the big day when Mashiach comes. The Torah is trying to hint to you something here. Ramas HaTorah Kan Remez Godel, one of very big remez, about the godless of Eliyahu Hanovi. Hine Ein Hashem Elokim, the eyes of God is looking against Mamelocha Hachato'o, this sinning government. Hishmadet Yoso, I will destroy it. This is the government of Israel in the days of Yehu Ben Nimshi, a big Russia. That was Malchus Yisrael, the government of Israel at that time. Efes, nothing will remain. Kilo Hishmit is base Yaakov. The people I will save. The government I will destroy. Nu'um Hashem, so says God. Almost Tes, Pasuk Ches. Shine Kishamalchus Yisrael, when the Jewish government, Ein Hegis, Al Pi Torah, does not follow the Torah law, Tikkuno B'Shem Aim is called a mother that you must send away. Kedichsiv Hosea Beis Dalid, Ribu Bimram, fight with your mother who misled you. Ribu. This is an evil, wicked government. Rems Lanu, a pasuk is trying to tell you, Hakosim, Shalech the Shalech Hashem, send away the government. Throw out the government. Hamamlocha, a government, Hachato, that does sins. There's Habonim, children, save the children, not the people. The people save, the government get rid of them. Kilo, Tashmid, Hashmid is Beis Yaakov. I will not destroy the Jewish people. Commotion number, Eis Eliyahu, the Heishiv Lev Ovos Habonim. I'll bring the Lev Bonim back to the parents, to the Torah tradition. Sheishlo Kol Malchus Yisrael. It includes all Jewish governments. She'enu Al Pi Torah. That's not Al Pi Torah. V'yitfol im Bnei El Chai. They will eventually follow the Bnei El Chai, children of the true of God, the Torah world. Lashivon L'Darchei Avosim, to turn them back to their parents. Yoshuva El Hashem. They all do tshuva. Get rid of the wicked government. The Chaim Bezos Shiluach Ha'im. Send away the mother. The faster you do that, faster Mashiach comes. That's one way of looking at it. There's another mitzvah. Shalech, the Shalech is an aim. Sometimes you have to send an agent to get those Jews who are very far away, totally intermarried and estranged to Yiddishkeit. Shalech, the Shalech, you have to send the aim, Aleph, Mem, Eliyahu, Hanovi, and Mem, Mashiach, to get those Jews that are far away. It's another drush. That's my father doesn't say that. It's another word. Shalech, the Shalech, send out the agents, Eliyahu and Mashiach, to get those people back to Torah. Okay, that's a powerful piece. Let's go to the next piece. Kisivna Bayis Chodosh, you know, Ki Tetzei has 78 mitzvahs, more than any parasha in the Torah. Kisivna Bayis Chodosh, if you build a new house, well, see some makal agagef, you have to make a gate around the top, so no one falls off. So the Rashi brings a medrash. If you keep this mitzvah of Shiluach HaKan, the one right before this, the end will be you'll build a house and put up a gate on the roof. What's the connection? Isn't that interesting? How could you see a connection? Im kiyamto mitzvah, if you have already fulfilled kiyum shliuach hakan, the end will be you'll be able to build a house and put up a makkah. What's the connection? Which means shliuach hakan brings you to the mitzvah of doing a makkah. A makkah means a gate around the roof. Let's look at the Mayan says. Shluach HaKan, you happen to go along the way and it's surprise, mikra, accident. A Khan there, a grave is not in your garden where you have pigeons. It's prat lekonus. excludes pigeons that you know where they are. Along the way, accidental only, that's the only mitzvah. Shiluach hakan, when you don't know they're there. If you go to someone's place and he invites you, and he has a pigeon there, and with babies there, and he wants you to do shiluach hakan, that's not the mitzvah. It cannot be something that's domesticated. It has to be wild. Baderech has to be accidental. If you take care of this mitzvah, accidental mitzvah, no accidents will happen in your house, which is also a mitzvah if somebody falls off. If you take care of this mitzvah that happens to occur to you accidentally, no accidents will happen in your house. That's what the mind says. And then it says, in your house, Yipol Hanofel, the faller is going to fall. But if you keep the mitzvah of Shluch HaKan, you'll never miss the opportunity to immediately put up a maket, a gate, and no one will fall. Why say faller will fall? How can he fall before he falls? And says he was Chaim Misa Min HaShemayim, and you don't have a makkah. So Hashem uses you as a bad person to fulfill a dirty job, to kill somebody. We roll over the guilt over a person who's self-guilty because he didn't put up a makkah. And the good things will happen to good people, and bad things happen to bad people. If you take care of Shluch HaKan, then that accidental coming across a bird, and that you do that, then nobody's going to fall off your roof by accident. That means not only a gate on your roof, when you have steps going up your stairs, if it's higher than 10 tefachim, 36 inches, the step, once it gets higher than 30 from the ground, then you got to put a gate. On your front of your house and back of the house, the steps, so anywhere where there's a platform, you have to have a gate around it. Now, you know why some shuls have a bima and they have a gate around it? It's a mistake. You know why? If the gate, the bima is 10 to 36 inches, 3 feet, then you have to put a gate around it. But if it's only 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, you don't need it. But there's a different reason why you do need it. Not because of a market. Because it's Rishus B'fnei Atzmo. Just like the people couldn't come close to Har Sinai, keep away. So when you read the Torah, which was given at Sinai, also it's a Geder B'fnei Atzmo. It's a Rishus by itself. A Mokum Kovod for Torah. That's all. Remind you that it's a special, unique place. The bima here. You don't walk through there for a shortcut. You don't put your hat on the bima. You don't. It's a whole way you read the Torah. Some people are very makbid not to put a siddur there, not a Gemara, only a Sefer Torah. And don't put your books there and the Gabai's notebooks. You don't do that. Some people are very makbid. Now, if it's a shul, you got to be very makbid. If it's a base medrash, well, then it's only shul agav. It's made for a yeshiva. You have to daven there too. And that kind of shul, the bima doesn't even have to be in the middle. It can be up front. But if it's a shul, you got to give it with great cover. But if it's yeshiva, it happens to be yeshiva, it happens to daven there. So then you can put bima, you can put your hat on the bima, you can put gemaras over there, everything. You can walk through there because the base medrash. Base medrash is not a shul, and base medrash doesn't have a designated place to daven daven. It happens to be agav. You happen to daven there because you learn all day. But that's a different thing. But if it's a shul, you got to be very makbid. Now another din about a makir. Kisif the bayis chodesh, you build a new house. Well, see some makir legakecha, you will make a makir, because if you took care of shluch hakam, you will make it. That doesn't say but also you should make. Well, see, so you will, because it follows the mitzvah of shluch hakam. It's a mitzvah say you should make a makir, a gate around your roof, because you don't want to have any dumb and blood guilt in your house. You can't have in your house a step with a rickety step. You can't have a ladder that has a rickety step. You can't have a loaded gun. You can't have unmarked prescriptions. You can't have something on your steps that if you come down you could slip. Don't put blood guilt in your house. Don't have a roof without a gate. Don't have stairs without a banister. Don't have medicines without being a mark. Don't have a gun that's loaded. Don't have a long knife terribly sharp in your house. Don't have kitchen chemicals that a little child could drink. Those sosim domim. Don't put any blood guilt in your house. So it says here, says the Rambam says, why don't you make a bracha on nitil shadayim at the end of the meal, my machronim? Because it's only because of sakana. You don't make bracha on sakana. In the beginning of the meal, you make a bracha because that's one of the Sheva Bar mitzvahs, the Rabbanon, to make brachas on eating bread and food, bread. So therefore, that's a bracha Rishonim. But bracha Achronim, Mayim Achronim, it's not because of eating anything, it's because you're not going to eat anymore. Because they used to eat with their fingers, they didn't have forks and knife, and they couldn't preserve the food because they didn't have refrigeration. So they salted it with melech domis, with the sea salt of the Dead Sea. And that was very, very caustic. And if you put it, you eat the food with your hand, and you don't wash your hands at the end, you might touch your eye and blind yourself temporarily. So therefore, only Mayim Achronim because of sakana. And if sakana, you don't make a bracha. Now comes the $64,000 question. And mak is because of sakana. And the Rambam passes you have to make a bracha. Now we got a problem. It's because of sakana you shouldn't make a bracha, but the Rambam says you do. Avo harambam, v'hilchos ches, sheposak, sheose make mevorech. You make a bracha. B'shas asiyo sheikh dishon b'sof zona lasos make. We got a question against the Rambam. Says the Mayan. Brings us to free. You know, when you build a house, you got to put the makkah on right away in the beginning when you're building it. We don't care if anybody is ever going to live in it. The din that the house has to have a makkah. We don't care if anyone lives there or will not, or maybe makes no difference. It's part of the house. You have a makkah. So therefore, Rambam says, I'm not making it because of sakana, because maybe I don't want to rent it to anybody. But I make a house, I got to have a makkah around my gag, my roof. So that's nothing to do with sakana. That's why he says in the business I say to make a bracha. Because it says, Habona bayis chodosh, don't you have to live there? You got to put a makkah. And even nobody's there. That's why the Rambam says you got to make a bracha. It's not because of sakana, because maybe nobody's there. You have to build it, make it because that's how the house has to be. Before anybody lives there, you got to make a makkah there. But mezuzah is only if you live there, for instance. If you don't live there, you don't got to put a mezuzah on a house no one lives in. When you live in, you got to put mezuzah. A makkah you put in, no one lives there, because it says, Kisivna bayis chodosh, brand new, before you rented it or sold it. See, so makkah has nothing to do with sakana. That's why the Rambam said you got to make a mitzvah say to make a bracha on it, because there's nothing to do with being living there. That's the way the house has to be built. It's not like mitzvah mezuzah. Chovas hadar. If you live in a house, you need a mezuzah. And therefore, it's very good that according to Rambam, make a bracha. You don't make a bracha for any sakana. You only make a bracha for a mitzvah. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Lo yova amoni ma'ovi b'kahal Hashem. A Moabite and an Ammonite can never intermarry into the Jewish people. Lo yova b'kahal means marriage. They can become gerim, but they can never marry. They become gerim, and they can become gerim. They can marry another ger, but they can't marry a Jewish person ever. Dor Asiri 10th generation means ever, but an Egyptian after 3 generations, yes, because they were our hosts once. And a Mitzri Edomite, yes, because he's your brother. He's still your brother. Yaakov and Esau were brothers. After 3 generations, they can marry in because they're your brother, and the Mitzri that we your hosts. So after 3 generations, yes, but I'm above never. You know why? Hashem commanded to keep them away. We read the Torah was given at Sinai, and this din was given right away at Sinai in the beginning of the 40 years. Lo yova amoni b'ovid b'kal Hashem. Then he gives a reason. You know why you have to never let them marry in? Because lo kidmu eschem, they didn't come and offer you water and food by the time you got into Eretz Yisrael, right there on the East Bank. Wait a minute. The Torah was given at Sinai, and this idea of lo kidmu eschem, it didn't give you any water. That was said in the first year. It didn't happen until the 40th year. So how could you tell me such a law 40 years before shlo kidmu eschem? He didn't meet you with bread and water. If it didn't happen for the next 39 years, how could there be such a thing in the Torah? And why should they kidmu eskan? Because remember, Ammon and Moab is Lot's two children. When the two girls lived with their father, they thought there were no other people in the world. They thought when Hashem destroyed Sodom and Amorah and all the 5 cities, He killed every single one, all over the earth, the world was destroyed. They did it. Hashem Shemaim, the two daughters were never punished for that. One lived with the father and had a child called Moab. One had Ammoni. So therefore, there's Avram's nephew, Lot. They should be appreciated that Avram, when he was 135 years old, he put his life in danger to save the scoundrel, his nephew Lot, from Sodom, because they captured, the 4 kings captured Sodom, and the mayor of Sodom, which is Lot. And Lot means cursed in Aramaic, which means he abandoned Abraham, and he became an evil man. He became the mayor of Sodom, and Abram put him his life in danger to save the scoundrel, the nephew. Hundreds of years later, the whole Jewish people is coming up to the East Bank, and they don't appreciate Israel, what Avram, the father of the Jewish people, did for his nephew. They're such ungrateful people. Never let him intermarry. So the Kalmayan asked the question. That's happened 40 years later. Right when the Torah was given, right in the beginning, we have the law, never let him intermarry. What's the connection? He says the reason that you don't let a Ammoni, a Moabi, Avram, you know why he put his life in danger? Because from Lot comes Mashiach. Moab, Rus, Boaz, Obed, Yishai, David, Shlomo, Mashiach. That's why he saved them. So he says like this: they are rotten people. They are bad character. Even if they did offer you bread and water and food, that's not the reason. They're evil, bad characters. Mitzrayim, they're evil, but they're your hosts. Edom is your brother, Yaakov's brother. There are some good traits there. Didn't he, when he came over to Yaakov, the last minute he wanted to kill him and bite him, but he kissed him? And then when Yaakov was 99 years old, he came home, Esau left with his whole family, and then let Yaakov be all alone to Yitzchak. So there's some good traits there, but these people, ungrateful people, even if they did offer you bread and water, that's not the reason. The mitzvah is not because of the reason. The reason then makes the mitzvah. You do a mitzvah, eventually you get the reason. You don't do something because of the reason. You do it because God said so. You eat food because it tastes good, but if you're in a hospital, you get it intravenous. It's the same with nutrition, you don't taste at all. God did you a favor by making it look good and taste good and smell good. But that's not why you eat the food, because of the smell and the taste. You eat it because you need the nutrition. You do the mitzvahs because God said so. The reason is something else. These people, even if they would offer you bread and water, it's very nice, thank you, pay them, everything, but no, let them marry into Klal Yisrael, because they have a fundamental rotten character. They're sources even. Alright. One more piece. They didn't approach you with water and bread. They hired Bilam to curse you. Bilam came from the river Aram, between the two rivers. That means Iraq. One side is Tigris, one side is Euphrates. Chidekel and the Pros. And it's the Ram between the two rivers. It's not Syria, which is Aram Tsova. It's Aram Naharaim, which is Iraq. Abram came from there, right? But Bilam came from there too. Bilam he said to himself, Min Aram Yincheni Bolak. Bolak hired me from Aram. Melech Moab, the king of Moab. Maharei Kedem, from the mountains of the east. Shirotz Lahazki wanted to mention even the Jewish forebearers, Avram, did Avodah Zorah, and they came from Aver HaNohar, the other side of the river, the other side of Euphrates, between the Euphrates and the Chidekel, the Tigris, in Iraq. So you want to say, I come from the same country they come from. Bilam said, I come from the land of Abraham. Joshua was saying, they lived originally, Terach Avi Avram, Terach the father of Avram. He came from Baghdad or somewhere over there in Iraq. Ba'avi Nochar, and the father of Nochar. And they worship other gods. At 3 years old, Avram became a Baal Shuvah. Ratza Bilam La'ora Dover said that the Bilam wanted to arouse this in Balak's ears. You know, I come from the same country Avram comes from. I have big sechusim. I know these people. I know they believe in God, and I know if I can tell God one of the sins they did at a certain moment, the God gets angry, 1 nanosecond a day. I know the exact moment that He'll look down on them and punish them. That's the evilness of Bilam. Min Aram, he took me from Aram like Avram came from Aram. All right, that's it. I want to tell you something before we end. You know that Terech is the luckiest man in the world. No human being is as lucky as him. No human being is as lucky as him. He had 3 sons, Avram, Nochar, and Haran. Avram was the first of the 3 fathers. Nochar had Lavan, who had the 4 mothers. And Haran had Lot, Mashiach. Avram, as one of Terah's sons, he was the beginning of the Avos of Klal Yisrael. Nochar, Lavan, the 4 Imahos, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, and Bill and Zilpah. Rachel, Leah, Bill, and Zivka, not Rivka. Yeah, well, Rivka's one of them too, yeah, his sister. And his daughters, Rachel, Leah, Bill, and Zilpah. Lavan was the father and the brother of the Imahos. Even Sarah came from that line. And Haran, he had Lot. And Lot lived with his daughter, who had Moab. And Rus comes from Moab. And she married Boaz, Oved, Yishai, David, Shlomo, Mashiach. So you see that Terah was a lucky man. He was the father of the Avos of Klal Yisrael, the Imos, and Mashiach. Rabbi Yisai, we're finished. Zayt gesund stark. And have this month, we'll wish you Ksiva Tova, a wonderful, good Gebench year. A good year for you, but it has to be a good year by you. You have to do tshuva before you want Hashem to forgive you. You have to do tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, and slichas. It has to be a good year by you if you want to get a good year for you. It's like